You stayed late and finished the project a week early. Your manager said great work, and then gave you another project that same afternoon. You absorbed two colleagues' workloads during a hiring freeze and delivered all of it without missing a deadline. Your manager said, I do not know what we would do without you, and then your annual review came with a 3% increase that did not keep pace with inflation. You did more. They gave you more work, more responsibility, more pressure, just not more pay. That is not a coincidence, and it is not your manager being ungrateful. It is a system that is designed to extract maximum output at minimum cost, and you have been making that system's job very easy. There are 5 specific reasons why doing more work almost never results in more pay, and the last one is the reason your manager already knows you deserve a raise and still has not given you one. Here is the structural reason this keeps happening, and it has nothing to do with whether your manager values you. In most organizations, compensation decisions and workload decisions are made by completely different systems. Workload is managed locally by your direct manager. They can assign projects, redistribute tasks, and increase your scope with a single conversation. Compensation is managed institutionally. It requires budget approval, HR review, band alignment, and often multiple levels of sign-off. One of these systems has almost zero friction. The other has enormous friction. Your manager can double your workload by Thursday, but getting you a 10% raise takes 3 months of institutional processing that they may not even have the authority to initiate. The path of least resistance is always more work at the same cost, because that path requires your manager to do absolutely nothing except hand you another folder. The raise requires them to fight an institutional process that may say no. Guess which one wins every single time? 5 reasons, counting down from 5. Reason number 5, you made the unsustainable look normal. 6 months ago, your team lost a colleague and their work got redistributed to you as a temporary measure. You absorbed it without complaint because you are professional and because the alternative was letting things fail. But here is what happened institutionally. The output stayed the same. The deadlines were met, nothing broke. And the system drew a specific conclusion from that. The current staffing level is sufficient. You did not demonstrate that you could handle more. You demonstrated that the previous staffing level was unnecessary, and that conclusion is now the permanent baseline, not the temporary crisis response you thought it was. This looks like the month you realized the backfill requisition for your departed colleague was never open, because your absorption of their work proved to the budget holder that the team functions at this staffing level. The takeaway, when you make the crisis disappear quietly, the institution concludes there was never a crisis, and the staffing level that was supposed to be temporary becomes the new permanent expectation. Reason number 4, your manager's budget rewards underspending. Your manager operates inside a budget, and that budget has a headcount line and a compensation line. When your manager delivers the same output with fewer people or with the same people at current compensation, the budget comes in under target and underspending is rewarded institutionally. The manager who runs a lean team that delivers gets recognized as efficient. The manager who requests additional headcount or compensation increases gets questioned about whether the spending is justified. Your manager is not rewarded for paying you more. They are rewarded for delivering the same results while spending less on you. Your underpayment is not an oversight. It is how your manager's operational efficiency gets measured. This looks like the quarter your manager received a leadership commendation for delivering results under budget, and you realize that the budget saving came directly from your absorbed workload being carried at your unchanged salary. The takeaway, your manager is not rewarded for spending more on you. They are rewarded for delivering the same output for less. Your efficiency is their budget metric. Your efficiency trained the system to underpay you. Reason number 3, a raise creates a precedent, but more work does not. When the institution gives you a raise, it creates a permanent financial commitment. That raise compounds every year. It affects your benefits calculation, your bonus base, and your eventual severance if you are ever let go. It also creates a precedent. If you got a raise for absorbing extra work, every other employee who absorbs extra work now has a case for the same treatment. More work creates none of those institutional consequences. Work can be reassigned, projects end, responsibilities can be redistributed. There is no permanent commitment, no precedent, and no compounding cost. The institution will always choose the reversible reward over the permanent one, because the reversible option costs nothing if the situation changes. This looks like the conversation where your manager said they would look into the raise, and 3 months later the raise has not materialized, but you are still carrying the extra workload that prompted the conversation. The takeaway, a raise is permanent. Extra work is reversible. The institution will always choose the reversible option because it preserves flexibility and creates no precedent. Reason number two, you never named the price of your extra output. Every time you absorbed additional work without naming the compensation expectation attached to it, you sent a specific signal to the institution that the additional work has no price. You did not intend to send that signal. You were being professional, being a team player, being the person who does not make things difficult. But the institution reads silence as consent. If you do not name the price, the institution will assume the price is zero, and it will keep adding to the load for as long as the load continues to be carried without a cost attached. This looks like the year you took on project management, client communication, and new hire training without once saying the words, "I expect the compensation for this role to reflect the expanded scope." The takeaway, the moment to name the price, is when the work arrives, not 6 months later when the work has already been normalized as part of your baseline. Once it is normalized, there is no additional work to compensate. There is just your job as the institution now defines it. But none of these reasons compare to reason number one. This is the one that hurts most because it means the person who could fix this already knows it needs fixing. They do not owe you a raise for doing more. You owe yourself the conversation that makes them. Reason number one, they already know you deserve a raise, they just have no incentive to fix it. Your manager knows you are underpaid. They know your scope has expanded beyond your title. They know you are carrying more than your role description justifies. They know you have not received a compensation adjustment that reflects the work you actually do. This is not ignorance. This is convenience. Because fixing it costs them political capital, budget negotiation, HR processing, and the risk of being told no by someone above them, and not fixing it costs them nothing. Your output has not dropped. You have not complained formally. You have not presented a competing offer. You have not named a deadline. As long as your output continues at the current level without a formal compensation demand, the institution has zero pressure to address the gap. Your manager is not withholding the raise out of disrespect. They are choosing the path where the system does not push back on them. Giving you a raise means fighting upward against budget constraints and HR policy. Not giving you a raise means doing absolutely nothing and watching your output continue unchanged. The incentive structure is pointing entirely in the wrong direction, and it will continue pointing there until you create a reason for it to change. This looks like the performance review, where your manager said you are doing incredible work, and the raise conversation will happen next cycle. And you realize that next cycle has now been 3 cycles in a row, and the raise conversation has never actually happened because your continued output at the current salary has removed every incentive for the institution to initiate it. The takeaway, your manager knows you are underpaid. They just have no budget pressure to fix it because your output has not dropped and you have not created a formal institutional reason for the correction to happen. Here is the honest closing. The system is not designed to compensate you fairly for what you produce. The system is designed to extract maximum output at minimum cost. And every time you deliver more without naming a price, you train the system to expect more at the same cost. Your efficiency is not being rewarded, it is being harvested, and it will continue to be harvested until you create a reason for the institution to stop. That reason is a specific conversation, not a complaint, not a vent, not a passive-aggressive comment in a one-on-one. A structured compensation conversation that names the expanded scope, documents the additional responsibilities, references the market rate for the work you are actually doing, and asks for a specific adjustment with a specific timeline. Your manager needs a formal institutional reason to initiate the process, because without one, the path of least resistance will always be to do nothing and let your output continue funding their budget efficiency. Stop proving you can handle more. Start proving that more has a cost. Your efficiency was never the problem. Your silence about its cost was. And the system that rewards your manager for underspending on you is the same system that keeps the best employees stuck in positions that were supposed to be temporary 2 years ago. I break down exactly how that capability trap works, and why being the best employee is the structural reason you stay stuck. In the next video, your efficiency is not being rewarded, it is being harvested. Name the cost, or the cost stays at zero.